Hey guys, Vern's here, back again with another Supercoach video. This time it's the round 20 review. Look, I haven't actually seen how my score has gone overall. I do know I've scored a 2,632, which is funny considering I scored 2,635 last week, so pretty similar score. Now, what you won't be pleased to hear, I guess, is that I didn't stick true to what I was going to say with my captains, and I really wish I did. I decided to not go Sicily into Petrarca, and I decided to get Stewart into Sicily, which meant I unfortunately ended up with Sicily's 103, where obviously if I went Sicily into Petrarca, I definitely wouldn't have been taking Sicily's score at the time, would have swung it to Petrarca and probably made an extra 38 points there. So that is unfortunate that we did throw away a few points there because we just didn't stand strong, but that's okay. We'll use that to reflect and hopefully make sure we just stick with our guts next week rather than try and get, persuaded off it. I did say the only thing that pushed me off it is maybe English or Stewart. If you went for English, great. If you went for Stewart, it was punishing, unfortunately. But if you stuck strong with Sicily into Petrarca, then you were very heavily rewarded. So bit unfortunate there, but a lot of things went really well. We did manage to loophole and not take Keys' score, so we did end up with Day and Sheasel instead, which was very nice. But let's jump on in and see how we actually went for this week. Okay, not really much of a rank change at all. So, as I said, similar score, but instead this week it goes from, I think it was, ranked around rank 2,000-ish, down to rank 6,000 this week. We only go up 10 places to 667. Overall, so not too much progress this week. It's understandable with English having a big week and us obviously not having him, us obviously getting a poor captain score, and honestly just not too many massive scores overall, but pretty consistent scores. Look, considering we don't have any trades left, at the end of the day, if people aren't getting injured, it's pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with the team we've made, but 4 rounds left to try and get to top 500, so let's take a look at it all and see how it all went. Okay, we won all 7 of our matches. Cool. That was one cool thing. I did have, who was in my last game? Sheasel. Was it Sheasel? No, it's Petrarca. It was Petrarca in 2 of my matches as a unique, and he just had the sort of score of a 120, which he did, which was very nice, to win 2 extra games. But yeah, as we can see, not a good captaincy overall. Definitely, if we went Sicily into track, we wouldn't have taken Sicily's score because he was like 30 at halftime when we had the choose. So we could have made like an extra 40 points there, which would have been very handy. But we did get Day's 118 on field because we had the loop here. So we could choose whoever to take after Day and Sheasel had played, so made things after Day and Keys had played, and we were always going to take Sheasel into West Coast, so that was very nice. Games in the week, it was pretty interesting, a lot of upsets. Melbourne lost, I don't know the statistic, but I mean, if there's ever been a time, round 20 or late in the season where all top 4 teams have lost, that would have been pretty crazy. But yeah, a lot of upsets last week. It was a good week of footy in that case. Unfortunately, obviously the Pies got down. Look, we didn't kick accurately. We had plenty of good moments and plenty of opportunity, and we just didn't convert. Saying that, I think the umpire has Kerno for the Coleman this year. I mean, look, just as a personal opinion, I feel like a lot of those moron Kerno calls, like, at best, they're 50-50s where it's just there doesn't need to be a call, but I just don't know how Kerno was getting so many frees. But look, whatever. He kicks his bag, and Carlton supporters are happy, get their revenge from last season, and they're really making the rev home for finals. Freo upset Geelong at GMHBA. Look, this was, I guess, where the bait was here with Stewart, because obviously Stewart was Stewart last time in GMHBA against Freo dropped the 189. Freo have given up a few big games to defenders, and Stewart has had a few really big weeks and a few good weeks recently, so was hopefully feeling that against GMHBA, but just wasn't the case. Just wasn't the case. So that was a bit unfortunate there. GWS come flying back. I was watching the Freo Geelong game, so obviously Freo, great comeback and win, but obviously we hear the commentating at the same time, and then even when this game finishes, we have the last 5 minutes where GWS have somehow come back from like 40 points down and gotten on top of the Dogs, which was absolutely crazy. Good scores out of the Dogs players too. Libba doing really well for us. Bont, who a lot of people would have had in their backup after Dacos's fail. So I guess at least we avoided that. But it's only 1 point difference, so I say avoided that, but we ended up in the same boat as anyone that did that. So yeah, I guess it is what it is. And then, yeah, Gold Coast getting up on Brisbane. Didn't see that one coming. A few really good games from the Gold Coast boys. Flanders was a little bit more down this week, which, hey, that's fine by us. I think Flanders is someone that everyone's going to be very interested in at the start of next season. So if he can not go too ballistic now and keep his price a little bit more reasonable, we'd be happy with that. Sydney ended up taking Essendon in a close one. Adelaide get up against Power in the Derby, and they absolutely belt them too, which was crazy. Great scores from Laird and Dawson. Tex kicks, 7 or so, which is always great to see. Hawthorn, who I thought were going to come roaring back, and then they just let St Kilda run away with it, unfortunately. Sicily was 33 points at halftime, then had a 40-point third quarter, and then only really had a 30-point final quarter, so definitely a much better second half. But with a score difference this big, you'd think the scaling is probably more towards the start of the game, unfortunately. But yeah, just a few moments there where Sicily just butchered it, and also had opportunities where you just didn't get a kick. Something I actually want to talk about is fucking Stewart just being an absolute menace in the bad sense. He was making uncharacteristic turnovers in this game. Anyone watching this game, he just kept doing un-Stewart-like things. He just wasn't hitting targets. He was picking out Freo players that you just wouldn't expect. One time I remember him just getting an intercept mark, going back, and he goes to just kick it to his Geelong players on his own, and it just drops 10 meters short, and the Freo player just gets it basically for free, and it's just... And then Freo turned around and kicked a goal off it, and it was just Stewart doing un-Stewart-like things. So honestly, I don't know if he was trying to throw this game, but they really couldn't afford for Stewart to just... I don't know, Stewart, to a degree, lost them this game, which is just crazy. He just... So unlike Stewart. Melbourne ended up getting up on Richmond, which is pretty big at this stage, but early on, obviously, Richmond had the leads. That's why I was thinking at the stage, you'd think all 4 top teams go down, and West Coast get their second win of the year over North, which is a bit unexpected there. Honestly, I know it's at Optus, but I really thought, I don't know, as much as North are second last, they've had some really good showings this year. St Kilda, honestly, twice have almost gotten them. Even last week they should have got them, and yeah, I didn't expect West Coast to come out and win this, but yeah, I guess quick recap there over the games. Nobody really stands out too much in my team overall. We had a lot of good consistent scores, not too many monster scores, so we obviously had Gouldens 152 and then Petrarca's 141 as our 2 highest scores. Another reason why Track would have been even better to get the captaincy on, because it always feels good to hit one of your top scoring players as captain. Good scores out, Libba, Merritt, Brayshaw had a great game. Sarong finally came out with a good game. Dunkley came out with a really good game, which is a bit unfortunate, but he technically got outscored by Zach Butters by a point, so Zach's technically still earned us more points overall right now by about 45 with 4 weeks left, so we'll see how that goes. Briggs not too bad, but obviously we don't own English, so yeah, just a bit of punishment on the antipods that we're running, having pretty good weeks this week, so... understandable that we weren't great overall, and as I said, also just a poor captaincy score. But we'll look at what we're going into this week. As I said, I hadn't actually had a quick look at this yet. So Hawks and Collingwood game, I feel like we love to give up points to defenders, just personally, but I always love just including Sicily because of his ceiling in the loop. Let's see what we've got here. Melbourne into North, definitely people probably interested in that. Oh man, Freo into Brisbane. Freo gives up a lot of points in the midfield. But we have Essendon into West Coast early on, and whenever you have an early West Coast game, you have to look at their opponent. Also, Richmond give up points to the Dogs. Richmond give up points in their midfield, and Dogs love. We have so many good midfielders from the Dogs. Adelaide could also... Oh man, there's actually a lot of pretty good ones here in my opinion. Yeah. Obviously, Melbourne North, Essendon West Coast, Adelaide Gold Coast, Bulldogs Richmond, Freo Brisbane. So probably 5 good games to choose from. As I mentioned, Sicily's always a smoky you can throw in there. Maybe not Dacos this week because I feel like Hawthorn are usually good at restricting mids from scoring, and they're probably going to send Connor McDonald to him and keep him a bit more closer to this 80 mark. Hopefully not. We always want him to do well, but as a Collingwood supporter, but as a Supercoach, it doesn't really matter because everyone owns Dacos, so it's whatever. He's not being included in the loop, so it doesn't really matter. Saying that, we'll probably run Day as the emergency. Oh, but we've got the early games here from our... That's unfortunate. The early games from our loopholes this week. So running Day as an emergency doesn't really work. But are we going to prefer Sheasel or Keys? Oh, God. That's hard to choose. Giants play a bit later, so we can use Madden as our loop this week. Marek will probably play, so we can't really loop here either. Damn. Okay, well, we're just going to have to straight throw the team out this week. Can't loop anyone. We can obviously loop our captain. Question is, who are we going for? As I said, there's a lot of good games to pick from. Where are we going? Look, it's one of those things that DR said it a few weeks ago. It's one of those things that I always think about and then I bail on, but it's like you want to VC your ideal captain because ideally, if they're your ideal captain, then great. There's no reason that should go wrong. And for some reason, if they do go wrong, then you can just throw it on someone else if you have a good backup. Saying that, if they're your ideal captain, you can always throw something a little bit more wacky on players that play earlier in the week. I'm looking at the dogs, and it's hard to look past any of the dogs, but I think Merritt into West Coast has got to be numero uno as the preferred VC this week. So we'll go Merritt. But then where are we going next? Do you want to be doing track into North? Not really. It's hard to choose. I think if you have Gorn... Oh, yeah, Gorn came out with another massive week. So anyone that moved from Briggs to Gorn got huge points there as well on top of us, which is unfortunate. Once again, another antipod for us, but obviously not highly owned. Anyone that went Briggs to Gorn earlier, then, great. They've been hugely rewarded off the last 2 weeks. Yeah, maybe I just run Merritt with the straight C instead, because I was thinking of looking at one of the Adelaide players, but they just play too close together, so it doesn't really work. We can jump down to really Sicily, but I don't know if I want to be running him as a straight C, just because as much as he has the ceiling, he has been a bit... I don't know, his non-captainable games have been pretty lackluster. And then I don't know if I just want to trust track into North. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with track into North. Plays more forward in a game that Melbourne should run over, irregardless. Probably kicks a few goals and gets a good score anyway. Saying that, what's the chance of Merritt actually failing? Pretty unlikely. He's probably going to come out with a good game. I should have trusted track this week. I didn't, and I got punished. Should I do it again? Maybe. The other thing I guess you can be scared of here with Essendon is that they do have a lot of high talent in their midfield, and if they just run over West Coast as a team, how much does Merritt truly benefit? I did say that with Neil in the same situation and got punished for anti-potting the Neil captaincy a little while back. So look, maybe we just run pretty strong with Merritt. Maybe we could run a Libba because, as I said, I don't really like running Bont as a VC because he sort of hits that 120 pretty consistently in most cases. Definitely, obviously, a down week from him this week at 101. But he's pretty consistently around that 120 mark, which is always just like on that borderline of do you take it, don't you take it. Merritt's a bit more of a yo-yo on his scores. He definitely can hit that 160 range, but he's been in good form too. I was going to say when he doesn't, it's a lot closer to the 100 mark when he doesn't have his big games. Oh, track record's pretty good too. His last 3 is over 110 apiece. Man, Merritt's track record against the next 2 is going to be really nice. But we had the 69 not too long ago, 105, but then you have the 130, the 130, the 160, 120, but then 105, 130, 110, 169. And that's the sort of the thing. We have the massive scores and then much closer to this 100 mark when he doesn't hit it. But I think we'll just take the Merritt VC here. I feel pretty confident that we'll just take the Merritt VC after his performance. He'll probably, hopefully get, you'd think 120 minimum, but wouldn't be surprised if he hits definitely close to that 140 mark. And I really don't think there's anything wrong with track as a backup at the end of the day. So look, maybe not the same as what other people are doing. I mean, look, if you have English, I think English is a great VC again. You can't not include English in your loop. He's been, one, really good as of recent. Two, Richmond, they don't have Nank. They don't really have a ruck. They have given up, I feel like, points to rucks previously. So English probably just goes massive. Impossible to not include him. Others that maybe want to look at this Adelaide game instead of the Essendon game, I don't know. I think Merritt's just a safer bet than Adelaide and the Gold Coast, just purely off playing West Coast. You feel free to be risky with Sicily. I do feel like us as the pie, sometimes we do chaos ball a little bit too often. And then it does sort of feed intercepting defenders. So nothing wrong with playing with Sicily if you want. Sydney have given up points to midfielders previously, as to why Brayshaw and Sarong had pretty good weeks this week. If you're a Kelly owner, maybe you could look at that, but you'd probably be looking at this as a C. So I probably wouldn't do anyone in this game because they're more VC options in this game. And then, yeah, as I said, if you have Gawn is another great captain option here. Track otherwise. Not really choosing anyone from North, let's be honest. Probably not doing anyone in the St Kilda Carlton game. And then the Freo Brisbane game. I know it's over at Optus, but it's hard to not back in Dunkley. I think it's just better options than anyone really needed in this game. Freo do give up points to midfielders as well, though, as we can see from Gordon's 152. So if you have Dunkley, I really don't have a problem with that. But as I said, I do think Gawn, English, Merritt, like, they're probably my three preferred, and track. Saying that I don't own Dunkley, so would I go Dunkley over track? Hard to say. I think they're pretty evenly matched. So for those that don't own track, then you at least have Dunkley to hopefully fall back on. And if you don't own either, then maybe you own Gawn. I don't know. But yeah, that's it for the video. I've rambled on enough. I did want to quickly check out the leagues because I think technically this was the final week before finals. As we can see, we top 4'd in all of our leagues, which is very nice for us. Let's check out the YouTube league first of all. Let's just check out the head-to-head. So we were quite far ahead here. Let's see how the scramble went for 8th. As we can see, it came down to total points at the end of the day. So the orange team managed to jump in here. I don't know if they won this week and they moved up, but that would be very nice if they managed to win and sneak up. Congratulations on making it. So yeah, we'll have some matches obviously set up here. Let's jump into the second one. Obviously finished second overall versus the Wombats, so I know called me out a little while ago that said they were going to beat me, and look, they didn't, so let's see if they can get me this time. Head-to-head, anything interesting here? Similar thing, it was a close race for 8. But comes down to total points, and 300 points more goes to the three-peat Hawkers. Manages to sneak in there, so congratulations there. And yeah, we'll see how we go moving forward from there. I mean, their projected score is looking pretty good now, so maybe they can make a sneaky run from the bottom of the table. These are my mates' leagues, so we're not going to really look at them. I'm just going to quickly look at the Fantasy Take League. We finished 4th overall. Pretty close there. We managed to get there with total points at the end of the day. I think this one was actually quite funny. I'm pretty sure. So I ended up beating 6th here, who, as we can see, total points was technically ahead of us. So if I had lost, I wouldn't have been top 4 heading into finals. So there was a very good win for me this week against Air Willoughby. I tried my best. Ilwulba, I don't know. So yeah, they actually dropped, unfortunately, with their total points as well. I think they would have actually been 3rd. I'm pretty sure they were 3rd. I was 4th. Me obviously winning knocked them down to 6, but Dylan had a better total score than me, and as we can see, we're 40 points apart, so he was like 70 points ahead of me in total score, so managed to leapfrog me there. Doesn't really matter too much. Obviously, he's still 3rd, and I end up 4th. We all end up top of the table, so it doesn't really matter. Really, really close around 8th again, but we have a draw there that managed to get Uniac on crack in, which I think's maybe a bit unfortunate for the rest of us in the top 8, just because I'm pretty sure he's the overall leader in total points. Yes, he is. 330 overall for rank. Not that it matters. Everyone's really good here, and it's just going to be really close overall. yeah, really highly rated, a lot of these players, and we're all very close in total points, so lots of fun there. I mentioned that obviously I lost 40 points by not captaining track, so that extra 40 points, there we go, you can see where it would have put me at about 580-ish. But I do have Forgot to Wipe, who actually is 7th in total points, so just doesn't mean I'm going to win overall, because this late in the season everyone has full premium teams, and sometimes people with lower total points are actually better set up to play leagues because they've held back trades to make sure they can get through their leagues, or maybe they're just a bit slower completing their team to make sure that they had a better team for the finals run. And then we'll just check out the Shorty Supercoach one. So once again, second here, Dacos Delight will go up against. Shorty didn't actually make it in his own league. I mean, he was quite far away, as you can see here. There's quite a big gap between 8th and 9th here. So, yeah, and then quite a big gap between the top of the table. So I was pretty safe, top 2 for most of this. Total points overall. Damn, Dacos Delight is 55 overall, and I've got him first week of finals, so we'll see how we go there. Yeah, it's going to be good fun. And this one's just a public league, so I just, standard public league that I was in when I started. This guy actually almost got me too. This was one of the ones that I won, as you can see, an 8-point win right at the end because of Petrarca going off. Same with the against Air Wilbur. Yeah, as I said, he didn't have track and I did. Ended up beating him by 39 points. So I needed track to score 102 to go even with him. So obviously did that. And in this one, I needed track to score 133, which he got the 141. So very nice. Unfortunate for... This guy's ranked 13th as well. That's really unfortunate for him. What does a win do for him here? Wow, look how close this is up to 8th. A win for him there... doesn't quite get him to 8th anyway, but he almost took off the top dog, so nice try. Yep, sorry, been rambling. You guys probably don't really care about any of this stuff. I just thought I'd go over it because we're heading into finals, and for those that are in my YouTube leagues, congratulations on making the top 8, and best of luck in finals, especially for those that have me in round 1. Hopefully we have some good games here, have some good fun, and just... It's always something to play for at the end of the season. There's not really any trades to do at this point. And yes, we're trying to still improve our overall rank as best we can, but it's a little bit out of our... Obviously, it's always technically out of our hands, but once we've lost all our trades, there's nothing more we can do. We've done all the setup we can. And yeah, it's a very different thing when you finished your team, and others that maybe played a bit more for league, maybe a bit more set up to take down those that have been better overall position regardless. So anyway, I'll wrap it up there. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Peace. Later.